Hello, my name is Allison Landis. For my Webquest presentation, the topic is on COPD. COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a progressive disease that makes it hard for individuals to breathe. COPD is a major cause of disability and is the fourth leading cause of death in the United States. It develops slowly and symptoms worsen over time. Cigarette smoking is often the leading cause of COPD, but other lung irritants such as dust and air pollution can cause it as well. The term COPD includes two main conditions, emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Emphysema affects the air sacs and causes them to lose shape and become floppy, which interferes with gas exchange. And chronic bronchitis affects the lining and causes it to become inflamed and irritated. Currently, there is no cure for COPD, but when working with your doctors, you can improve management and lifestyle. For my Webquest, I use search terms such as COPD support groups, COPD blogs, about COPD. Expectations with this Webquest was that I was hoping to find information on support groups or blogs within either the United States or specifically within Pennsylvania that offered support to either caregivers or patients specifically with COPD that I could also take back to my unit and educate my patients on it as well. The first site that I found is called Better Breathers Club. It's a part of the American Lung Association. So what it is that it's support groups for patients and caregivers that are affected by chronic lung diseases, including COPD, pulmonary fibrosis, and lung cancer. And it assists those individuals in finding ways to better cope with certain situations. It's often led by a trained facilitator, and they meet regularly for not only support but also by including educational presentations such as exercises, talking with your physician, breathing techniques, etc. I included the link on the slide that individuals can look and research, as well as an available phone number to contact for more information. When I was researching through this site, I also did find that it is throughout the U.S. and that you can specifically put in which state you live in. The closest one that I found in Lancaster is a Better Breathers Club in York. The second site that I researched is called the COPD Foundation. The COPD Foundation is a not-for-profit organization that was created in 2004 with offices in Washington, D.C. and Miami, Florida. The mission of the COPD Foundation is to prevent and cure chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and to improve the lives of those affected by COPD. The purpose is the foundation has been established to speed innovations which will make treatment more effective and affordable, and to improve the lives of patients with COPD and other related disorders through research and education that will lead to prevention and someday a cure for all that is affected by this disease. On this site there is a COPD 360 social blog. What I found on that was a lot of articles such as like all about oxygen, events, therapies, personal stories that those who are part of this community can read or respond or post and share their stories. I also included the link for the COPD Foundation as well. The third site that I found is on caring.com. It is an online support group for caregivers, family, friends, and others with an interest in COPD care. Individuals come onto the site and post questions, they vent, or explain treatment options for those that they are caring for. I was scrolling through the site and I found a post that it's just kind of an example of why I feel like this is a good site. An anonymous caregiver posted, "My wife has COPD. It is nice to find a site with people in similar situations who understand what it is all about. We all have to stay strong and always hope for the best, but prepare for the worst." And someone, Roses70, responded saying, "That is exactly right. You are in the right place for support. This is a long, unforgivable disease, and it takes a toll not only on the person who has it, but also the caregiver. Stay strong, find some joy every day, and know that you can do this as a caregiver. Always stay in contact with the medical team and be proactive. Prayers and hugs." I just felt like this was a good example of what this site is about, and this was only posted just 3 days ago. I also included the link for anyone who is interested in looking at this site as well. Next, I'm going to discuss the similarities between my research and the required readings. What I found for initially is that all three sites researched through this Webquest are a form of support groups for those either with COPD or another form of lung disease. The overall theme was that these sites allow individuals to take care of their emotional health by sharing their thoughts with others who are going through similar experiences. I can compare this to what Linda described in the book about the importance of taking care of her emotional health, and states that negative things in her life affected her lupus. She gathered support from family and friends, support groups as well. A comparison between If You Have to Wear an Ugly Dress as well as the Thornhill article is the discussion on symptom and denial. So in the Thornhill article, there's 4 themes, and in one of the themes it discusses when the patients begin experiencing symptoms, they begin to start, putting them off or denying them, and only seeking treatment and opinions once those symptoms begin to affect their everyday life. And it also discusses about how many patients were misdiagnosed. And I can compare that to Linda's experience with her lupus, where she was beginning to experience symptoms, and once they got so bad, she began seeking treatment, but wasn't ever finally diagnosed until after her 3rd or 4th experience with a physician. The last comparison with the last article checked in with everything else that I researched is that it just expresses the importance of using relationships and support in helping to maintain physical and psychological well-being. Next, I am going to discuss the differences between the sites that I researched as well as the required reading. The difference on Breathe Better Club is that it does not have a blog, but what it does offer is many face-to-face groups within the state that you reside in. In Caring.com, it is specifically an online blog support group for those who are caring for patients with COPD. And the COPD Foundation is a very large site with global support that offers a lot to individuals, such as different types of treatment, research. I discussed about the different blogs. And what I found on If You Have to Wear an Ugly Dress, Learn to Accessorize, the differences that I found was that she did use a support group mainly for divorce. She compares her emotional stages that she had to go through with her divorce, as a similar grief process that those go through when they lose kind of control of their health. Another difference that I found in the book was that Linda discusses about, spirituality and, that there's a higher power, and no sites that I researched express anything about spirituality or faith in their mission statement. I'm going to wrap up this presentation with some additional information on just the benefits of online support groups. With the digital format of online groups, it better supports the exchange of important information. This kind of exchange is a little bit less possible when there's in-person support groups. Not to say that they're any better or worse, but when in person, it's not as easy to refer back to a discussion, or, with online support groups, you can copy a link or save a link that is easily a bit more accessible versus in-person support groups, more or less, you receive handouts, which can be easily lost. A second benefit is just the continuous availability. For those experiencing a chronic illness, support, especially emotional, may be needed, any time of the day or night. With online support groups, a discussion is always open and participants can send an instant message or receive emails at any time. With, further supporting that greater access. So as I said, you can access it 24/7, but, whenever, wherever. If you're in the park or whatever, you can, access your group. Another benefit is that it makes it more anonymous. So for some people that may want to seek some emotional help, but they don't want others to know, maybe because they feel embarrassed or concerned about, the stigma that they may facing, online support groups gives participants availability of support without opening up who they specifically are. Additional support, so online support groups can also be used as, a psychotherapy with in-person support groups, where they can be utilized during different times, as I said, between meetings for additional support. Lastly, they provide the same support. So another major upside to online support groups is that they provide the same kind of emotional care to individuals as in-person meetings. I want to thank you for watching my presentation on my Webquest on COPD. I hope that you gathered some information on available resources for support groups of COPD, as well as just the overall benefits of support groups. Thank you.